Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the past few days, I have been stuck in WCW land on the WWE Network. Over the last few days, I have been putting up tons of reviews from Fall Brawls, doing reviews of past War Games matches, mostly between the NWO and WCW. We're coming up on the anniversary of those matches. A lot of those matches happening in the month of September. But for some unknown reason, I think last night I was sort of done with watching some of the War Games matches. Maybe I'll dip back into those sooner than later. But I went into the land of World War III, the 60-man over-the-top battle royal that was held in the month of November as one of the WCW pay-per-views. During this one, I watched 1995. I can tell you that honestly, before last night, I was a fan of the World War III match itself. In my mind, I had a memory that the match was very fun. 3 rings, 60 competitors. I'm a big fan of the Royal Rumble. There's 60 guys instead of 30. This should be 3 times as good. And as the match was about to start, I saw the guys pile out of the back. And there was mostly 2 things I saw. There was guys in this match that I had never seen before, and there were guys that were in this match that I didn't even know work for WCW anymore, and I hadn't seen, like Buckhouse Bunk, a guy that I hadn't seen in WCW in years. This edition of World War III was in 1995. This match basically was a match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Because at I believe, Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, the Giant was stripped of the WCW Championship. The Giant won the championship in his very first match, and he went on a run with the title, and instead of having the Giant be beat, they decided to take the title off of him and have it held up in this match itself. This match had guys from all over the roster. It had cruiserweights, it had heavyweights, it had tag team guys. Everybody wanted a chance to be able to call themselves the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Later on, this match would be changed to basically the winner of the match becoming the number 1 contender. I believe in 1998, the winner was going to get a shot at Super Brawl, which, if I remember right, it was a lot like WCW's SummerSlam, one of their biggest pay-per-views, but not Starrcade. And in the last one, of course, that was won by Kevin Nash. He got the title shot against Goldberg at Starrcade, becoming the true number 1 contender, getting the title shot a month later, which made a lot more sense. I will tell you that, honestly, there's guys in this match that I hadn't seen in a long time, like Scott Armstrong, like Bobby Eaton. But there's guys in here like Cobra. There's guys like Chris Kanyon, who I didn't even knew debuted in WCW or was on the main roster in 1995. Of course, I knew that he would become Mortis, or maybe it was Wrath. He became one of them. One of them was Adam Bomb, and one of them was Kanyon. But then you see guys like Max Muscle. You see guys like, what was the name of those tag team guys that came out there? Super Assassin number 1, Super Assassin number 2. You have the members of the Faces of Fear, Dungeon of Doom. No, fuck. What was that really bad, maybe it was the Dungeon of Doom, with the Taskmaster, with Shark, with the Zodiac and the Yeti. The Yeti came in with such a big, huge debut, coming in and doing that thing where he humped Hulk Hogan right there in the middle of the ring. And here he is, he comes out in this match, he's no longer wrapped up like the Yeti or anything like that, like where he's all just wrapped in toilet paper. He just looks like a dude, and he gets dropped. He's the first guy eliminated from the match. I don't know how they did the random splittings, where 20 guys were in one ring, 20 guys were in another, and 20 were in another. It was kind of weird. They did have 3 separate announced teams for this very one match. You had a guy that I'd never seen before or heard before out there. He was covering, I believe, Ring 3. And you had Tony Schiavone doing one, and you had Eric Bischoff doing another. And Larry Zbyszko was with that other guy that I'd never seen before. So it was a 4-man booth, but everybody was watching their own rings. It's very funny because the camera is panning around. They sent Mean Gene Okerlund out there, who was out there to interview the winner in the ring after most of the big matches. And he's just sitting at ringside with his back to the action, not even watching it, sort of just looking out at the crowd, waiting for his cue to go in there and do his interview. Even though there was 60 guys inside of this match, there was honestly Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, The Giant, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, maybe Lex Luger and Sting. Those guys are probably, honestly, the only guys that are believable to be going out there and winning this match. The one thing I talked about when I started watching the War Games in one of the first reviews that I put up on that was that basically WCW was a company that always had really good ideas, had a lot of money, but a lot of their ideas, they just didn't want to put the money in to shooting them and doing them right. When I watched War Games 2000, Russo's Revenge on WCW Nitro, although that match was planned in advance, they didn't have proper lighting for the second cage. They had a very small, almost out of focus camera for when the guys were fighting inside of the second cage. They made it almost pointless to watch any of the action that was in there. WCW takes one screen and splits it into 3 shots of 3 separate rings, and they're not even able to get the whole ring inside of the picture. I know that the match is already pretty long, at almost about 30 minutes. But maybe if they could have done things to do intervals of 5 wrestlers coming into the ring at once, much like the Royal Rumble, and just been able to have one ring. I know one of the reasons why Vince doesn't want to do a match like War Games is because of the fact that in WCW they had 2 rings out there, and that takes up a lot of the floor seating that fans spend a lot of money for. This is WCW. This is World War III. This is 3 rings. Boom! Lots of ringage out there. Lots of fans not able to sit down on the floor. But honestly, if the match is this big, I don't think I would really want to be on the floor unless I was really, really close. And even if I was really, really close, what if you get a floor ticket and you're over by ring 1 and the fools are fighting over there in ring 3? That was one of the things that I always seemed to notice when they would do the Fall Brawl pay-per-view with 2 rings, is if you're on one side of the ring and you're looking all the way through a ring to another ring, it's not even like you're sitting in the front row, because the action isn't going to be coming over to you unless you're getting ready for the actual War Games pay-per-view. But then again, that's probably what you're paying for anyways, but you're sitting there for a while, kind of bored. You'd almost like be watching like a football game. You want to be up higher so you can see everything that's going on at once. But that's just me. World War III's match, of course, being a battle royal with 60 guys. Once the ring lowered down to 30 competitors, everybody was able to get into one ring, and that was almost like when the real match got started. Even when there was only 30 guys in the ring, it was still Jobberville with a lot of guys out there that didn't have any shot at being out there in the ring. I'll tell you this. Probably the flip out of the night, and probably one of the best spots in the match, is that once Ric Flair and Arn Anderson are both eliminated at the same time, which I believe was by Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair went on the best flip out of all time, actually jumping in to one of the rings that nobody else is in, only to jump down and run away and beg to the referees that he was not eliminated, even though he pretty much eliminated himself to get him out of there. But that's what it comes down to. There was a little bit of a storyline that was going on if you were watching WCW Nitro at the same time, where basically Sting and Lex Luger were tag partners and they were friends. They might even have been the tag champions at this time. But Lex Luger was a flex heel that basically was heel almost any time that Sting was not looking at him, if that makes sense to you. Sting helped Lex Luger throughout the match. And it was actually Sting and Lex Luger that eliminated the Giant with help from Hulk Hogan. When Hulk Hogan came over and dumped all of these guys, the Giant was able to reach back into the ring and grab Hulk Hogan, scooping him out underneath the ring and bringing him under the bottom rope. Peach, under the bottom rope. That was the one thing that I did not like throughout this match, is that a lot of guys like Lex Luger hung out outside of the ring. They weren't eliminated. They sort of stepped out of the ring on their own, either to pick a fight with somebody that they had some beef with at the time, or to just sort of not be in the ring, I guess you can say. Once Hulk Hogan was outside of the ring and he was fighting his way with the Giant throughout the ramp, this left the one-man gang and Randy Savage as the three guys that were left inside of the ring competing. Savage threw one-man gang over the top. The referee called for the bell, called Savage the winner. Hulk Hogan, who was fighting the Giant, hadn't even got done knocking him out yet, and said, "Hey, wait a minute," came back to the ring trying to plead his case. How could he not be eliminated? How could Savage be the winner if he had not been eliminated? Hogan basically, cried like a baby like he did in a lot of his matches, being a borderline heel, but then basically told Randy Savage that he was going to bring footage from World War III to Monday Nitro to show Savage that he was never eliminated. Savage said he was going to celebrate his victory tonight as being the WCW champion. If he was presented with the evidence, they will go forth from there. I know that there was a fun fact about Randy Savage, and he won the title a lot in WCW, and he only held the title for one night, winning it on a pay-per-view, losing it on Nitro. I don't remember them doing a title change this soon on Nitro, but if I had to bet my money, I'm thinking that Savage and Hogan have a match on Nitro, and Hogan walks out with that belt. But that's just me with the Hogan power play. So all in all, this was a very weird match. It was not as good as I remembered. And the pay-per-view actually ends in a commercial for WCW Nitro to watch it the next night. So I'm sure at the end of the night, you got to see a new crown champion. But for those who threw down your $20 to $30 to watch this on pay-per-view, probably felt pretty bummed that the real outcome was going to come on Nitro on free TV on TNT.